Ahead on NewsWatch, what's going on in the Trump transition? As the debate over Secretary of State heats up, Trump just made China very angry, and he's not backing down. Plus, she moved to Israel to help Arabic children. Then Palestinian terrorists stabbed her. Hear how this brave woman cried out to Jesus and why she chose to forgive her attackers. And it is a wonderful life turned 70. We'll speak with the childhood actor who played Tommy Bailey in the timeless Christmas classic. Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. President-elect Trump has officially picked a new member of his administration. This morning, he named Ben Carson as his housing secretary. This week, Trump is expected to select more high-profile nominees for his cabinet. The most critical one will be Secretary of State. After weeks of looking at Mitt Romney and Rudy Giuliani for that role, Trump is still not satisfied. He's said to have expanded his search to about 9 candidates, including David Petraeus and Obama appointee, former China Ambassador John Huntsman. That comes as Trump is under fire for breaking with U.S. foreign policy by speaking with the president of Taiwan over the weekend. China claims Taiwan should be part of their country, but Trump has never shied away from confronting China.
It's a little mystifying to me that President Obama can reach out to a murdering dictator in Cuba in the last year and be hailed as a hero for doing it. And President-elect Donald Trump takes a courtesy call from a democratically elected leader in Taiwan, and it's become something of a controversy.
President-elect Trump has also spoke with the president of the Philippines, who has been very critical of the U.S. in recent months. European markets are jittery this morning after Italian voters rejected constitutional reform Sunday. As Dale Hurd explains, the move is widely seen as a referendum on the European Union.
European leaders have been urging calm after the biggest body blow to hit the EU since Brexit, the British vote to leave. Italian voters said no to proposed constitutional reforms that became a vote of confidence on membership in the European Union. In voting no, Italians sent a rebuke to the establishment, which had staunchly backed the referendum. As promised, Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi resigned after the defeat. This woman, who was in favor of the government plan, said, "I think we are a country that is really good at destroying. We're really good at coming together when it's a chance to destroy the upteenth ship that is trying to build itself." This man, who was against the government plan, said we could not go on any longer like this. The Italian people cannot take it anymore. If authorities don't understand, then slowly we will make them understand. The vote has energized the anti-establishment Five Star Movement and the anti-immigrant Northern League. Northern League leader Matteo Salvini said the Italian approach is no longer to serve the European Union, but to act as equals. Never again a government with the socialist of the European Union. This is clear. Never again servants of a mistaken currency or of a crazy banking system. During the campaign, the risk of political instability in Italy, Europe's fourth largest economy, triggered market reaction, with bank stocks sinking and borrowing costs on sovereign debt rising. In Brussels, officials said all was still well.
I'm very confident in the capacity of the Eurozone to resist to all kinds of shocks. I think that we have now a very solid system.
But there are more shocks on the way. The man who could be the next president of France, François Fillon, said France could tilt more toward Russia. The most popular party in the Netherlands is Geert Wilders' anti-EU Party for Freedom. And so it appears Europe is turning to the right and away from the European Union. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Investigators are still searching for victims and for clues to what started the fire that killed at least 33 people in Oakland, California this weekend. They're looking for signs of a crime in the fire that destroyed a warehouse during a late-night dance party. Survivors and teary-eyed friends place flowers on several small memorials as they mourn. This is the deadliest fire in the U.S. in more than a decade. The church is stepping in to meet the needs of survivors of the Tennessee wildfires. Many first responders continued to serve even as their own homes burned. Now, as Caitlin Burke reports from Gatlinburg, this hard-hit community is coming together.
Many of the firefighters working to make these mountains safe again also call them home.
They've not wavered. even the ones that's lost everything and lost their home and everything else, they've not asked to be off. They've been here and working.
It's hard to find a member of this community not affected in some way by these fires. That's not stopping them, however, from showing up and pitching in any way that they can. We met these nurses at the Rocky Top shelter, volunteering even after working long shifts of their own.
It's hard, but we're strong people. It's in our DNA. We're strong, we're tough, we're country, and we stick together, and we'll get through it.
Senior Chaplain Paul Lambert of the Sevier County Fire Department says that he's faced disasters before, but never so close to home. Still, he spent days on the front lines offering support and even driving the water truck to firefighters up in the mountains.
Just keep praying for us. We're a big faith-based community. We love the Lord, and we just want everybody to keep praying and continue thoughts and prayers for this community as we rebuild.
Meanwhile, the local church is actively supporting not only its members impacted by the fires, but the entire community. Pastor Brent Freeman has been meeting with city leaders, business owners, and influential community members to come up with a plan to care for the displaced.
We've identified the Gatlinburg Foundation Relief Fund, and I know it's weird going to a bank website for that, but smartbank.com, easy website to remember. The very top of their homepage is a relief fund, and 100% of those proceeds are going right to the town of Gatlinburg, and they're going to take it right to the people that need it the most.
Pastor Brent shared with us what he plans to remind his church of this week in the wake of what many of them have been through.
My job is to make sure our people understand that, hey, God's not mad at us. It's not like he doesn't love us, but life happens. You never know when a storm is coming your way. Are you prepared?
An important message from the Red Cross. They're asking people to hold off on sending more stuff. As you can see behind me, they've got plenty of water bottles, they've got plenty of donations coming in, and right now, honestly, they're just running out of places to put everything. This is a small community, and they just need to take a moment and assess where everything needs to go. For CBN News, reporting in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, I'm Caitlin Burke.
Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast could be criminally prosecuted by the Texas Attorney General for selling babies' body parts. The House Selective Investigative Panel on Infant Lives is pushing for the organization's prosecution. The panel was developed in 2015 after the release of videos showed Planned Parenthood harvesting body parts of aborted babies. Family Research Council President Tony Perkins says the prosecution is, quote, the appropriate next step in bringing justice to bear on a group that clearly sees itself as above the law. Planned Parenthood hails founder Margaret Sanger as a champion of civil rights, but one thing they don't talk about is the racism behind her fight to legalize abortion. A group of African-American leaders want to focus attention on her ideology and how it affected black birth rates. Abigail Robertson has more on this story.
Margaret Sanger strived for a society that limited births to only those she deemed fit to have children.
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin.
Many pro-choice advocates see her as a hero, but critics call her a racist eugenics promoter who targeted black communities with her Planned Parenthood clinics.
Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, once said, colored people are like weeds, they need to be exterminated.
People don't understand that 79% of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in minority communities, and that minority communities shoulder a disproportionate amount of abortion.
Dr. King says while African Americans make up only 13% of the U.S. population, over 30% of aborted babies are from black mothers.
Under the veil of secrecy and deception, 60+ million babies have not been born because they were aborted legally since '73. 1/3 of that population belong to the African American community.
Planned Parenthood recently celebrated its 100th anniversary, prompting pro-life leaders to unite under the banner 100 No More to educate the public on the harmful impact Planned Parenthood has had on the African American community. 100 No More hope rallies like this one in Washington spread across the country to enlighten people about Sanger and her tragic legacy.
I have a real serious concern about the number of abortions that's taking place in the minority community, particularly the black community. And that I see this as a form of genocide. That is something we need to take a serious look at.
Planned Parenthood receives around $500 million each year from taxpayers.
96% of the time, if a pregnant woman walks into their clinic, that she will have an abortion.
Pro-life advocates want Congress to move that money to women's clinics that do not perform abortions.
They outnumber already around the country Planned Parenthood clinics 20-1. They truly help poor women. They truly care for the least of these, but they don't do abortions.
Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Ahead, for decades, she was a foster mom to Arab children in Israel. Then, she was brutally attacked by Palestinian terrorists. Hear her remarkable story of sacrifice and forgiveness when we come back. Marika Feldman is a Dutch Christian living in Israel who was a foster mother to Arab children for more than 30 years. Last year, during a wave of terrorism, Palestinians nearly killed her in a savage attack on a bus in Jerusalem. Chris Mitchell brings us the remarkable story of what saved her life and how she responded to the men who attacked her.
Marika Feldman left Holland for Jerusalem almost 40 years ago with a goal: become a foster mom to Arab children.
I had no money, I had nothing. I had only God's promise from Psalm 10 that to take care of the orphans. And this is how I started my home in faith. I just rented a house and I decorated it. And then after that, all the children came. This was over a time of 32 years. I was a foster mother. And I had about 20 children living, not all together in one time, but all these years, about 20 children came to my home and they stayed for longer or for shorter time.
Then one day, her life suddenly changed when two men boarded the bus she was riding. The bus Marika was riding stopped at this corner. Two Palestinians from a nearby Jerusalem neighborhood boarded bus number 78 and began to stab and shoot passengers. 3 Israelis died as a result of the attack.
They looked so suspicious that I thought, why did the bus driver let them in? After that, they started screaming, and the two were terrorists, and one had a gun and another a knife. So the man with the knife jumped on me, and then he started stabbing me in my shoulder, also in my chest and my hands. And the other one went to the back of the bus and started shooting. People started screaming, of course, but while he was stabbing me, I was saying in my own language over and over and over again, "Oh Lord Jesus." I will say it in Dutch. "Oh Heere Jezus, Heere Jezus, Heere Jezus." And I was protecting myself with my hands like this, and I was like very quiet. I kept very quiet, sitting in the corner, and all of a sudden he stopped. And he went to the back of the bus to continue with stabbing other people. All of a sudden I heard the noise and all the glass was broken and the door was just open so I could get out.
Marika stumbled out of the bus, bleeding and in shock. Still, she managed to wave down a driver who got her quickly to an ambulance. She had 6 knife wounds and a collapsed lung. Many of her former foster children came to visit her in the hospital, but they didn't want to be interviewed on camera.
One of the first questions my children asked me was, "Mama, do you hate us now? And do you hate the Arabs?" Because my children are all Arabic. And actually I was, how shall I express myself? I was flabbergasted that they would ask me these questions. And they said, "No, children, how can you ask me this kind of questions? You know, I'm called for the Arabs and of course I don't hate them."
Marika went further and forgave the man who stabbed her. Her children told her that doesn't make sense.
And I thought, yeah, it doesn't make much sense, you know, to forgive a person like that. But then I thought, actually, the Lord, our Father in heaven, He forgave us through the Lord Jesus. And forgiving is also, it's a choice. I want to make the choice to forgive. And once you make the choice, then God comes to help you. That is His grace. The whole horrible thing, it brought me closer to the Lord. He has proven Himself a wonderful God. We are serving a wonderful God. He is so good.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Up next, It's a Wonderful Life. We'll reminisce with the actor who played George Bailey's son and hear some behind-the-scenes memories from the classic movie. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the timeless Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life. And today we're speaking with actor Jimmy Hawkins, who played Tommy, one of George Bailey's youngest children in the movie. So what was it like for you acting in this iconic Frank Capra film at such a young age?
Well, Ephraim, it was, in speaking with all the principals through the years in making the movie, it was a job. Everybody enjoyed it very much. Frank Capra had that kind of a set, but they were, you always hope that the picture's successful. You've, brought your character to it, but nobody ever thought it would ever become the picture that it has become. And in reality, it lost $500,000 at the box office, but somebody at the studio years later didn't pick up the copyright, and it fell into public domain. And so TV stations all over the United States could show it for free, and they took advantage of that. So TV made It's a Wonderful Life a hit. I know in talking with Sheldon Leonard, who played Nick the bartender, he said the movie never changed, the audience changed. And they liked the message of It's a Wonderful Life and needed it, and they need it more than ever now to let people know that they are important and they can make a difference in life.
Beautiful. Remind our audience of Tommy's big moment in the movie when George Bailey is facing a crisis.
Well, yes, I'm sitting on Jimmy Stewart's lap and putting tinsel on his head, and all of a sudden he grabs me because he's trying to grab onto something stable because his life is in a shambles. He's lost $8,000. And he knows what it's going to bring his family, disgrace. And the thing about doing that scene, we rehearsed it 2 or 3 times, and then we shot it a couple times. And every time Jimmy Stewart pulled me towards him, I was wearing this Santa Claus mask around my neck. But the mask would hike up, and the inside of the mask was like sandpaper. I remember it vividly, and it would scrape my cheek every time. So we'd rehearse it, and then we'd shoot it, and oh my gosh, this man is going to pull me into him, and that thing's going to scrape my cheek again. But I knew enough not to winch or pretend that it was coming. I did it like it was the first take, and I guess that was instilled in me some way along and all the acting I had done up till then.
Nice, so, good acting, even at a young age.
That was vivid memories, yes.
Beautiful. What do you remember most about Mr. Stewart?
Well, it was just, Mr. Capra would introduce me to him, and then in reference to, I want you to put tinsel, he's your daddy, you're playing with him and putting tinsel on his head. And he just seemed like a nice man at the time, but it was an actor doing a scene. Same way with Donna Reed or interacting with my siblings in the movie. Everybody, like I say, it was a day's job. In our case, it was 12 days. And you hope that it's a success, when a picture comes out. But it really lost a lot of money. It was up for 5 Academy Awards and won nothing, except a citation for falling snow. In fact, on the new Blu-ray DVD from Paramount, they show how snow was made for that movie.
Nice.
And that's the way movie snow is used today. So they invented something, and the Academy gave them a citation for inventing movie snow, a new kind of movie snow.
But we now have a platinum anniversary edition of this film, and you just said that America needs this message in this movie now more than ever. Why do you say that?
Well, because people, they maybe think they have a mundane life and they go to work and they don't think they're doing anything. But they get to see, like Jimmy Stewart and George Bailey, what life would have been like if he had never been born. And George Bailey never thought he was doing anything special, And that's the way people think. They say, maybe there's a little bit of George Bailey in me. Maybe I have touched lives by standing at a signal and smiling at somebody as they drive by. It may have changed that person's day. And they have made a difference, and they can make a difference. And it makes you think, well, maybe I should, be a little nicer, whatever. They seem to enjoy it at Christmas time. It's just keeping it going the rest of the year. Yeah, that's the message of the movie. We're all important. We can make a difference. And that's what people want to feel like, that they have made a difference. And that's why they keep coming back year after year, new audiences. They're getting the message.
Beautiful. Real quick, what makes this anniversary edition different?
Oh, it's just the packaging of it and the different elements that behind the scenes, and like I said about the snow. But the print of the movie is incredible. The Blu-ray, all the pixels that it has, and when you show it in a Blu-ray machine on your large screen, it's just, you see things in the picture that you never saw before.
Beautiful.
And of course, they have a colorized version, which is, the kids seem to like color more than black and white. So they're getting the message of It's a Wonderful Life by Paramount making this colorized version. And it's very up to date, and it's all the newest techniques. And it's a beautiful, beautiful package. Really very special. They can see it through the year.
Love it. All year long. It's a Wonderful Life, and it's been wonderful talking to you, Mr. Hawkins. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you, Ephraim, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Time now for your Monday Motivation, and consider this today. Behind every pain, there is a greater purpose. So don't fret and be of good cheer. God has a greater plan for your pain. With that word, be sure to make this a marvelous Monday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. Join us right here next time. Make this a marvelous Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.